So I think we're ready for a mix. We're not going to go very high on this one. I know we're going to come up the top here. We've put our wood down here, haven't we? And we've braced it from underneath so that we can break this out when we're ready. We just knock that out. Well, that will pull out. I do like this corner plastic. It's great because the stuff isn't going to leak everywhere. So we put a bit of a stop end there. We're not going to even come that high. We might come that high. And then we've just drilled a couple of holes. Okay, you could put a raw plug, you could put that in there, but it don't matter. Just so that we don't initially pull that bottom shelf out, we've got ourselves just something, because I had the screws, just drill the holes, put them in. That's going to stop the slab, as you might say, pulling forward. The first bit we're going to put in, we've put a bracket here, down here. We've screwed a bracket into there, we've screwed the bracket down there. This bracket is supported because it comes up, because we're going to put a mix in there. We just put a little one. The first we're just going to do here, which is going to seal this bottom up here, and it's going to do the first contact, and then we'll come up to the top, because I think in one big jump it might just push that shelf away too much. Okay, you could fix the shelf, you could do whatever the hell you want, don't you? This is the way I do it. I'm gonna put this in possibly, well, to the top of here, say, and then this will have a grip, that'll have a grip. The concrete will be connected to there when it's dry, which will stop it from coming down here. And then we're ready to do a second mix. Then we'll come up here, we'll decide whether we're going to bring the whole of that up, or are we going to keep that as a sort of a special little cubby place. That's good enough for a stop end, because we're not going to be pushing on it, are we? I think we're ready for a mix. Yeah, let's crack on and make a bit of a mix. And we're going to make it quite sandy, so any excess will go down here. If we make too much, it'll fill the gap behind here, won't it? We're going to need a whole mixer full to go in there, and we've got to do the bottom of this shelf, remember. I can't remember, I think we've done the back of that one, but I think definitely we need to do the bottom shelf of this, whether it's in this job or the next job. It's there ready to be done, isn't it? So we're just going to use concrete sand and cement, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, use whatever you've got, use it in whatever ratio. As long as there's, always put loads of cement dust in it, make this mix up. I've only ever had one mix fail, and that was on a floor, and I think, thinking about it, I don't think we ever put any cement in the thing. But it will all go hard. Do you know how dodgy this mix was at the bottom? But look, it's gone hard now, and it's created the level we want. So let's just put that in there, and then we'll come up again. So I know you're going to shout to me, Reggie, that's too much concrete. Yeah, but it's what I've got. I'm using the end of that bag, so let's finish that bag off. Let's make this mix. Actually, I might throw another sand into it and do this bottom here, actually, because we're going to make too much of a big of a mix. So let's throw another bag of sand in there. So I find it's easier to mix it dry first. I'm going to add a bit more sand to that. I know the concrete's nearly on its way out. It's coming up into hard little bits, but the water will melt that a bit, and then it'll re-harden again. The concrete is running out of date. It's well old, but it don't matter, because all we're doing is messing about in the shed. It's not as if we're making footings for a big high-rise, are we? So all these measurements just have to be near enough, and so if it fails, you'll redo it and learn your lesson, won't you? So if you're just messing about, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, near enough on anything that you do, more or less, you know. Put the concrete sand in. We're going to put half a bag of building sand, because I want this to be very creamy, smooth stuff. Yeah. I've mixed it all together dry, easier to lift and turn and twist, because you ain't adding the water, and water is heavy, isn't it? So I've made a little hole here. I'll fill the hole full of water and then slowly mix it all in, and that hole will be enough to begin to get the stuff wicked. Yeah, make life easy. I want a fairly sloppy mix. Put a little bit too much water in it. But yeah, you just put it in the middle and mix it up. Stop it from breaching. As long as it doesn't breach over the top or burst underneath, you can just keep mixing it until the water disappears. So you don't need to make a hell of a mess. You can just mix it within its own space, as you might say. But it's been a bit heavy on the water. But no problem. Nothing we can't keep an eye on. Just build up the sides, look. The problem you've got is you don't want it to break out underneath. So you want to slope the edges like a natural slope would be. Because as you're putting the material in the hole, of course the water is coming up, isn't it? Yeah. Until you've got yourself all covered in like this now. And now it's a good place to, nice wet, good place to begin to mix it all in. Preferred way of mixing it is always get it and throw it on top. Get a shovelful, throw on top, mix it up like this, and then get your next one and throw it on top and go all the way around until you've mixed it all up in the middle and jammed it up together. It all mixes in together. It's a bit dry, a bit more water. I want it a bit more sloppier and wetter. But we've mixed it all within its own space. And we haven't made a mess everywhere, have we? No. Oh, God. Mixing a mix by hand. Ooh, takes it out of you. It is like black magic, isn't it? I mean, you make a mix. You put sand in it, and you put cement dust, and you add water to it, and you mix it all together. How does it go rock hard? How can two things small and run through your finger, cement will run through your finger, sand will run through your finger, some concrete mix will go through your finger, and yet it ends up being as hard as stone. Wow. It's black magic, isn't it? But I love making mix. You can mould any shape you want out of it, whatever you want to do, whatever your imagination, whether it be a step, whether it be a boundary to keep the water out, whether you want to make a seat in the garden. I mean, if you look back on the old films, I've buried a load of wood flames. I broke windows up and put the frames in here. And let me just show you. If you remember when we did the greenhouse, all the garbage, this is quite a high floor because we buried all the garbage I had there. I made it as a base for the greenhouse, brought the floor up on the greenhouse. If you remember, this is the same. That's a concrete step there. And I've thrown all sorts of garbage into it. If you remember, there was a fire bin, wasn't there? I'll try and find those clips. And I was throwing the remnants of a fire bin within the mix. And you remember we did this as well, this back step. That's what that back step is. At the time I didn't know where I wanted to be. I didn't know what level I wanted to be at. All I knew is I want to make a step, a beginning to the floor here. And I've thrown all sorts into there. So if you've got a load of rubbish in your garden, but for whatever reason, you've got bad access or whatever, but it's in your garden, well, you can always carry bags of sand and cement in, get a mixer, build a wall, create a step, create a deck, create a place to sit, create a bench, and hide your rubbish within it. It doesn't have to be engineeringly good or whatever in your garden. So it is a way of dealing with your rubbish without having to take it away. Turn it into something, make something, maybe add a few bricks to it. Maybe, you know, do a little ramp somewhere, make life easier, turn it into a ramp and disappear your stuff inside it. I mean, you can do all sorts. And that's how this wall on the back sort of started, because I had a load of rubbish that I wanted to excess stuff. And as you can see, look, I've started here. That was the one lot, I got rid of that. That was another day's work or whatever. Had some excess, get rid of it. This isn't just a concrete wall. This is hidden all sorts of garbage in there. Obviously, not too much. The ratio of cement, good. But garbage, you know, if you bury 10% of the garbage, you've still got rid of it, haven't you? Made it disappear. So that's my mentality on it. And of course, look, it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you chose to, you would mix it. For instance, now, let's say we had a load of rubbish we wanted to get rid of. Well, look, I built these walls here. I could put the rubbish in there, take this compost and stuff out, and I could put my rubbish in there and just put a lid on there. That would be a nice seat, wouldn't it? Or a table. Whatever you bring it up, you could put a table, you could make stuff disappear. And here, if your brick making isn't the best brick making, well, make your brick wall and then plaster the front of it, make it look nice. Same as here, look. Same as here. We did a Reggie brick wall up here. Obviously, we wanted to put compost, but let's say at a later date we want to turn this into a shed. Well, I'll get the compost out, and if we had, you know, stuff we wanted to get rid of, that you would have ordinarily, let's say, put it in bags and took it to the tip, bad soil, bad stones, bricks, bits and pieces, you're doing a tidy up, you could put it in there, you could put a surface on there, now you've got a table, now you've got a seat, you know, here. Do you remember this? I'll put the clip of that in. So again, look, just make sand and cement. Sand and cement and concrete mix is such a fantastic thing. I mean, really, when this wood perishes, we might make these out of brick. Winter now, shot, but sand and cement is such a useful, you carry it in little bags if you've got bad access to your back garden, and then you can mix it with water and create stuff, make a step, make a table, bury stuff out the way. So if you're in a position where you don't want to take it or it's inconvenient to get rid of it, then bury it behind concrete. Make a step, make a table, make a seat, make whatever you want. Yeah, really good stuff, concrete. So let's see how we get on. We're going to do this in 2 lifts because we want to do this bit, fill that gap up first. We'll come roughly halfway and then we'll do the next. We'll work on the bottom bit first, make this secure, and then we'll come up. If we do it in one big go, it's a lot of weight that's going to be shoving and moving around. So let's put it in the back on top of this plastic. There we are, look. That's all we need to do. Quite soft. A little bit more in there. In the back. Now we've got control of the pressure. You know, if we put a lot in there, that would be in control of the pressure. But we can put as little, as much or as little as we want on these corners now. That's holding up. That's going to be fine. It's above them screws, so we've got to put sort of a fixing and basically put a couple of cuts in for the next level. We're concentrating on the bottom now. The next time we'll be concentrating on the top and all this bottom sorted. Anyway, let's keep putting it in for now. Let's see how much it swallows. and you can put it in as gently as you like. Yeah, as you go. Make sure that plastic's okay. Just put it in, nice and gentle. That's going to be great for the first. It's not going to ooze out and come out the bottom, is it? No. It's going to be all right now. We're going to be okay. We're going to end up using all of this. There's a couple of mixers worth, isn't there? There again, look. We just don't give it too much pressure. If we filled it to the top now, it would be quite heavy, and it would start messing with things. But a bit more in that corner. Now here, the bracket's going to hold itself in. You won't see that. But see that bracket? We're going to go up and around and over that bracket. Where's the shovel? I'm gonna change our position. When you do it like this, if you've got a bit more, the level is up. If you've got a bit less, the level is down. The level don't matter. It don't matter at this stage. Hold on. It's so do you remember we put this bracket on, we fixed it here at the wood, that's holding the shelf in. We fixed it here, we bent that corner, so we're just going to make sure we've got stuff in and around and behind it, in and around behind, because this will all go rock hard. This stuff will. So put it in. That's nice and sloppy like this now. Wherever you want to put it. We'll put that corner there. Look. We're not pushing too hard on it. We're just going where we want to be. You know. And if we had more, it would be higher. If we had less, it would be slightly lower. That doesn't matter. And the thing is now, it's not oozing out the bottom, is it? Let's see if we can. It's not. Let's fill that gap in up behind there. Can you see? Let me turn you around. See if you can see better this way. See, it's filled that gap between that uneven wall onto this straight edge here. So yeah, great. And because we've put those screws in, it's not going to slip forward, is it? And of course, before we do the next level up, we will be putting, usually I use 6-inch nails, I'll just be sticking 6-inch nails in just under the level where we want to be, which will then connect this to the next batch that we do on top. Yeah, and we'll bring that up. And there's no real pressure on there, is there? No. And there's no real pressure on here, so give that a day or two. That'll be rock hard, ready to put the next level. So we've dealt with the bottom, fine. Doing it in 2 halves is a lot easier than, okay, you could do it in 1 half, but then you've got to control the bottom, you've got to control the top, lots of things. So 2 halves, let's fill the gap, fix that, easy. Now we'll come up there. All we've got to do now is concentrate on making a nice level deck and to match the shelves. And we've cracked it, haven't we? Yeah. Let's do a bit more work on this corner. Yeah, and do the screw, crack the wood off. We've got a new beginning. I haven't decided what we're going to do there. We might leave it simply because why why make a decision on something until you're there? Because the cupboard's going to go up here, isn't it? And we'll have that space. But if in the future you take the cupboard away, you might want it that low, you might want it higher. Who knows? So the spare now is going to go under here. Yeah. Let's just put a couple of nails in there, finish that job off. We'll just put that level is underneath this level, so we're going to have a nice top on it. And we're just going to stick some nails in it. That's all you got to do. That now will give us a fantastic connection to the top layer. So it's not likely to come and pull itself off away from the wall. Not likely anyway, because it's gravity. Because if you're working with a bottom base, gravity moves downwards. Just this pressure here, so you can't pull it off the wall. Not that I think much would happen anyway. But anyway, because, you know, you're going to put a lot of weight on these shelves. You got to make sure you don't want them falling on you, or worse still, putting your nice car here and then the whole damn lot fall over onto your car. You don't want that, do you? No. So just got to bear that in mind. Yeah, so let's do this bottom here, because we're going to put the cupboards on there, aren't we? So if you wanted to make that space up in timber, you'd have to first of all measure your space. Then you'd have to measure the piece of wood you put it in, and if you cut it wrong, you'd be short. If you cut it longer, it wouldn't fit. With some sand and cement, it fits where it touches. All we want to know is that nice and level, ready to put something on now. And it is, isn't it? And that's all we care about. And that's all we've done. We haven't had to measure. We haven't had to measure the hole and then measure the material you're going to put in the hole. None of that malarkey. And that will go rock solid. Yeah. So now we'll be able to put the cupboards on and slide them in there, and they won't be teetering on this plank, will they? It's going to be just fine. And you see, it's moved slightly, but this has gone. Remember, this floor was uneven, and now it's rock solid straight, isn't it? And then you could tidy this up, you could do whatever you wanted with this. But anyway, I'm such a fan of sand, cement, and concrete. Such useful stuff. I use it all the time, if you hadn't already noticed. So, it's not oozing, it's not moving, it's not sinking. No, that'll be just fine, that will be. And when we're done, we just knock this out, knock that out, and that'll give us our shelves back, because we're supporting that wood under there in that gap, aren't we? Yeah. And what did help a lot, we had some of this cornering plastic. I quite like using that. Yeah, because we're not bothered about the surface, are we? Because it's going to be behind the cupboard, behind the shelves. Yeah. Ooh, not a bad little jobbing. Now let's wait for that to go hard. I won't be playing tomorrow, but I might be back Friday. Mess about a bit more. And maybe make a bigger mix, because we're going to now fill that. Wow, we're probably going to get the mixer out, I think. We're going to have to take this off, bring that higher up, and we're going to have to make a bigger one here, aren't we, as well? Yeah, that's definitely a mixer load, I think. But we've established a grip. We've established a hold on this now, haven't we? Here and here. So, quite pleased with that. Quite pleased with that. Regular watchers would have remembered when there was a whole load of garbage here when we were doing the house and whatever. Well, I'll brush this up and see all this rubbish, this bits of horrible stuff here. Yeah, bits of brick, bits of debris. I'll probably get the leaf blower, blow all the leaves away, and then pick up all this garbage, and we'll put this in the mix. There's enough space to put all that in there. So sand, cement, garbage, mix it all in, and we'll tidy this up, make this look quite tidy again. Look, it's been neglected for a while, hasn't it, because we've had nowhere to put the rubbish. I mean, at one point it was piled out here when we were working on the house. Who remembers that? And we did have a pile here, I don't know, I must have used it. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that ordinarily, if you live far from a tip, or what do you do with it, or you know, you haven't got room in your bin to put it in a bag at a time. So we'll clear all this and we'll use all that in the next mix, and we'll get rid of it. Yeah, obviously there's a balance. You want more sand and more cement, and a percentage, let's say 25% of garbage. Mix in and get rid of it, because it's not important, is it? It's just making a gap. So you know, that's the sort of thing you can, this is the sort of stuff you can get rid of slowly as you do each little job, or each little project comes along. Right then, my little bunch of unholy sinners of a greenhouse builders. Do you see all this rubbish? That's stuff out the fire bin. That is, bits of rock and bricks and all that. All this has got to come up off the floor. This is just concrete mix. That's not too bad. This is infested sand, and that's just bricks and blocks. So even this, see, all this stuff has come from the bottom of the fire bin. So today I will be making the devil's brew as regards to the you concrete mixers out there. I'm just going to throw everything in. I've got plenty of cement. I've got 3 bags of cement, so there's going to be generous cement. There's going to be sand, rocks, sand and gravel. Throw that rubbish in, and it's going to be mixed for 2 or 3 or 4 times longer, until it all looks the same sort of colour, until it's all mixed as one big dollop. And then I'm going to throw the dollop in here, and so that it doesn't look ugly on the front, because I'm convinced I'm going to put a little brick wall. You see, I'm going to buy a whole load of new bricks and put a nice pretty brick wall in the front of there. So that's I think that's going to be the idea. I'll do the same here, but so the rubbish don't see, I've got some half broken blocks in there. So that's going to be the face of it. This one here is slightly big at the moment because I'm going to put 2 water butts. When the greenhouse is up, this will be the place for 2 water butts. I've still got plenty of room to put vehicles in and whatever, and let's see how that lasts and how long it stretches. And we'll put just a false step in here. And obviously I'll put plastic up here, so if at any time in the future that needs to come from there, it'll just separate, no problem. I was thinking of sort of making some sort of a seat in front of the greenhouse, but I was going to sort of shape a seat or something. You could make, alright, I'm going to make a floor here, a step, but you could make whatever you wanted. If you wanted to make a sort of a chair, or if you wanted to make a round corner, you could make a round corner with all the rubbish. Rather than buying a skip, rather than putting it in a bag and take it to the tip, let's all throw it in the mixer, because that's what that is, a mixer. So we're going to all mix it together and throw it in there. Let's see what happens. So here we are on our second mix. The first one was a bit sticky, it was sort of globuly. It was very wet, but it was still sticking together, so I've had to put a few bricks in it to sort of break it up. But that's quite smooth. Plenty of water. It seems to be drinking twice as much water as usual. I put 2 mixes, 1 bag of cement, so that was 1 or 2 of cement. I've still got this left, but all that crud is slowly disappearing. 1 of this, 1 of that, some of this, some of that. Mixing it all in. Looking okay. Looking just fine. And I put my first lot in. And if I get a big bit, all I do is throw it down in front of it. So I'll bring the next one up above and then work my way backwards until I run out. And here's my, I put the big bit of plastic protect the wall, look. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I thought it was going to look a lot uglier, but so far so good. So now I've used up most of the rubbish mix with all the glass and the stones and the filth in it. The glass is underneath. There's a layer of this stuff, all the filthy stuff I call it, and then that's just pure really nice concrete mix. So I'll make another 1 or 2 tubs and just finish off the top of it. And lo and behold, all the rubbish is gone, all the glass is gone, all the glass frames have gone. Yippee! Out with the mixer, making a mix, getting all the glass, putting all the rubbish in the mix, mixing it all with cement and gravel. We can continue the step. I'll clear the plastic off the step. I'm going to continue the step all the way along. We'll be able to put the compost drums on there, and meanwhile getting rid of all that glass that was out the windows. We've got rid of all the window frames and the doors and the plastic. So it's getting clearer and clearer, and I'm going to keep it like that because you see the wall there. We'll use the rest of the bricks and we'll continue a face of the wall along here, 3 bricks high, and that'll make that look nice and pretty. Yeah, so we're doing a bit today.